Um, there, you know, I'll tell you first of all what isn't an off-market deal. What isn't an off-market deal is a deal that somebody posts on Facebook and says this is an off-market deal, right? They're marketing the deal, right? So it's by definition not an off-market deal. And people will scream at me for this and say, no, it's off-market. It's if you're marketing it, if you're blasting it out, it's on the market, okay? Just because it's not a listed deal with a broker. So you find a lot of like wholesalers, doing this. And I guess I forgot wholesalers too. I don't tend to use them myself, but they're not so many of them are really active in the large multifamily space because most sellers don't want to deal. Most sellers of large multifamily properties are going to get, frankly, really pissed off if they think they're selling you a property and then you're turning it around and flipping it to somebody else, for more money. Just they're not. So, but for smaller properties where it's a more opaque market, and the seller just wants to sell and they're not even thinking about these things, like they don't care. But you're not going. So I don't really deal with those people because there's just not that much of it going on. But that's another avenue, right? But those people often will be the ones that you see on Facebook who are saying this is an off-market deal. But let's talk about like sort of actual off-market deals. One is when is a broker deal, right? Where it could be one of two situations. One is where the seller has told the broker, hey, I want to sell this, but I don't want to do a big marketing campaign. I want to keep it quiet. They may have various reasons for keeping it quiet. They don't want their tenants to find out it's for sale, or they don't want other people in the market to find out it's for sale. Who knows what the reason is? But for whatever reason, they don't want to blast it to everybody. They want the brokers to hand pick a few sellers that they know are qualified and buy that particular kind of property and just offer it to them. And usually in those cases, you're not going to get a huge discount over the blast sale, the true on-market sale, but you may get a little bit better price for it. And you're often just dealing with less competition. So like your certainty of closing is higher. You're not putting in all this effort to underwrite and, talk with your lenders and stuff for a deal that like you've got this very small chance of getting because there's 100 other people bidding on it, right? Maybe it's 5 or 10 other people bidding, so your chances are higher. It's just better for you as a buyer. Then there's like the real off-market deal with a broker where you have a relationship with a broker and you tell them like, this is what I'm looking for, go find it for me. And they start reaching out to all the owners that they know saying, hey, would you accept an offer? Would you accept an offer? And then you've got no competition at all in that property, except to the extent that there are 5 other people in the market doing the same thing. But the good brokers aren't going to, the brokers may say, oh, I've got two buyers interested in something like this, or they may know that like, hey, you just want to buy 80 unit deals and this other guy wants to buy 125 unit deals. So they're not going to be talking to the same owners when you're dealing with really good brokers. So that is like a real off market deal. And you've got also a situation where sometimes the brokers take it upon themselves to think like, hey, I think that seller might be interested in selling. And I know Jonathan is interested in this kind of thing. So I'm going to try to put the deal together myself. And again, that was never on the market at all. And then of course you've got like the direct to seller, which is also a true off-market deal because the seller might not have been thinking about selling until they got your cold call or your letter, or maybe they were thinking of selling, but they just hadn't taken there's a lot involved in selling a deal and you've got to go talk with brokers and you've got to do all the marketing. So maybe they were thinking about it, but they haven't quite gotten to that point and they get your communication and they're like, hey, this would just be easy just to sell it to this guy if I can get a price that I'm happy with. So that's the distinction between the sort of off market and the true off market. So like just to make it clear, sort of like the off market deal is the one where the broker is kind of like quietly going to a small market, let's say, and then the true off market deal is really where the seller had no intention of selling until they were contacted by either a broker working on your behalf or you on your own.
Today we talked all about how to find great multifamily deals. To help you even more, we put together a free resource you can download called How to Find Multifamily Deals Resource Kit. It includes a sample script for talking to brokers, which is incredibly helpful, some of the best articles and podcast episodes about finding deals, and even more tips about talking to brokers and finding deals that most people are not looking at. Download your copy for free at apartmentinvestorpro.com/find deals. Again, that's apartmentinvestorpro.com/find deals. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Apartment Investor Pro podcast. Be sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. Also, visit our website at apartmentinvestorpro.com and connect with us.